Maya Mataji, you are chanting, no?
Yes, Mataji, just a minute. 1 minute. Mataji, can you please tell the verse number because I am using the only one device.
Charuna, you chant, she'll chant along with you. You chant, start chanting.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanahamavvyayam Vivasvan Manavekaham Kave Dravit Evam Paramparatam Imam
Rajarshayo Viduhu Sakaline Mahata
Kalene Hamata
स एवायं मया तेद्य योगप्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सकाशेति रहस्यं
Aruna,
येन
she's chanting, na? Just wait.
अजोऽपि सन् अव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवामि आत्ममायया यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वता त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन वीतरागभयक्रोध मन्मया माम् उपाश्रितः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावम् आगता ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारम् अपि मां विद्धि कर्तारम् अव्ययम् तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव स्वपाके च पंडितः समदर्शिनः ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःख योनय एव ते आदि अन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरां सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिं पृच्छति.
So you can stop here. We have done the important verses till the 5th chapter. So in the next class, we will be continuing with the 6th chapter. Okay. So till 5th chapter, Bhoktaram Yake Sarvasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhradam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Ruchati. So this has been till here we have done. So from the next class, the division will be 5 verses for everyone from 6th verse onwards. So 14th verse, right? Am I right? 7th chapter,
Yes,
14th
yes,
verse.
Mataji.
Last time we saw the 13th verse. Tribhir guna mayir bhavir. So now, Tribhir guna mayir bhavir. Ebhi sarvam idam jagat. Mohitam nabijanati mam ebhya paramabhyayam. Because of the 3 modes, influence of the 3 modes of material nature, the world is not able to know me, Krishna says. The influence of 3 modes of material nature, a person is not able to know me. Actually, I am beyond the 3 modes of material nature. That's what Krishna says. Then how to know Krishna? 14th verse speaks about it. Daivi hesha gudamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya etam tarantite. Now, how to cross these 3 modes of material nature? Because of these 3 modes of material nature, I am not able to know Krishna. Now, Krishna says, Daivi Hesha Gudamai, even the 3 modes of material nature is my energy. Krishna says, the divine energy of mind consists of 3 modes of material nature. Then how to overcome these 3 modes of material nature? How to cross? It's very difficult to cross, Krishna says. Mama Maya Duratya. Maya has been referred to as Mama Maya. Krishna says, that is my Maya. That means even Maya is also energy of Krishna. Sometimes you say this is Maya, that is Maya. But very clearly Krishna says, Mama Maya, Duratteya, very difficult to cross. Mamevaye prapadyante. Prapadyante. What is the meaning of prapadyante? Surrender. Whoever surrenders to Krishna, Maya etam tarantite. It is like an ocean. Maya is like an ocean. It is very easy to cross this illusory energy. So Krishna says that if you surrender to me, Krishna very clearly says, if you surrender to me, you can cross this illusion. You can cross this illusion energy, this energy, this illusory energy, which is also known as Maya. And Krishna says this Maya is my energy. Okay, one of you reads the purport. Shilpa Mataji, possible, please keep your videos on. Then at least you are in the class. Keep your videos on and read the purport. Shilpa Mataji, read the purport. Ramakrishna Prabhu, you read the purport. So what will I know? You have kept the videos and then you have kept the on and then you're sleeping or what will come to know? Keep your videos on. Yeah.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of His energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya Baddha, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows. Mayam tu pragritim vidyan, Mayinam tu maheshwaram. Although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller.
Okay, we'll start here. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Sorry.
So what has been spoken in this verse? What has been spoken? Lord has multifarious energies. That is how Srila Prabhupada starts with. Because now, when Krishna says, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratya, then immediately Krishna says, okay, why only Maya is the energy of Krishna? Krishna has multifarious energies. Even a Jiva is energy of Krishna. Which nature? So, Jiva is superior energy of Krishna. Maya is inferior energy of Krishna. Then Jiva is superior energy of Krishna. What has happened? The superior energy has forgotten its spiritual nature and got bound to the inferior nature of Krishna or inferior energy of Krishna. Whatever it may be, inferior energy or superior energy, energy is energy, isn't it? Even inferior energy of Krishna is also wonderful. But what happened? We got bound to this inferior energy of Krishna, which is making us forget the superiority of Krishna, the superior position of Krishna, making us forget our identification with Krishna. That is why here, Nitya Baddha, the conditioned nature, the eternally conditioned nature has been given. As much as Jiva is eternal, even the conditioning is also eternal. That means matter is also eternal. This matter is Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya. Even this matter, these three modes of material nature belongs to Krishna. So even the inferior energy of Krishna is also eternal. Our binding with this inferior energy of Krishna is also eternal. So this eternal Maya to Prakritim Vidyan, Mayinam to Maheshwaram. Even though this is false, this is temporary. When you say false, means it is actually temporary. But the background of Maya is a supreme magician. Who is the background of Maya? That is Krishna. Who is Maheshwara? Who is the controller? That means Maya belongs to Krishna. Okay, Bimlesh Mataji, read the next. Bimlesh is ready.
माता जी, मेरे पास वो नहीं है. I don't have the script. I don't have the book.
Shilpa, you read. Shilpa, will you read? Okay, Shilpa is not ready. Then Raksha Mataji, you read. Shilpa is ready. Okay, read.
Mataji, verse number I'm not finding.
14, 7.14. 7.14. Daivi Hesha Guna. तब तक आप पढ़िए.
हाँ माताजी. हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound, because the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be free from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He ordered this release out of his causeless mercy of the surrendered soul and out of his parented affections for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the straitened material nature. The words Mam.
So here, surrenderance to Krishna has been glorified, because Krishna says prapadyante. Prapadyante means surrender to Krishna. What is the meaning of surrender to Krishna? Accepting Krishna as a supreme personality of God and accepting oneself as servant of Krishna. Okay, next, Shilpa.
Yes,
the video is on. Yeah.
The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna and Tamoguna to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas confirm this in the phrase Tam Eva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnur Eva Na Samshaya. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone.
So Bhagavatam also speaks about this. Mumukshavo ghora rupan hitva bhutapati natha narayana kalashanta bhajanti anasuyavaha. First canto, second chapter speaks about it. Mumukshavo, if one desires liberation, they give up all sort of demigod worship. Even if you want to worship demigod, the purpose should be to have more attachment to Krishna, to remove the obstacles which comes in the path of devotional service. If a person wants liberation, what is the meaning of liberation? Understanding one's position is real liberation. So if a person wants that, he has to only worship Krishna. Mumukshavo ghora rupa nitva bhutapati natha. Narayana kalashantaha. Just worship Narayana. Anasuyavaha. Don't have any hatred towards any demigod. Don't have any enviousness towards any demigod. In fact, consider demigods to be servants of Krishna. So but a person has to worship Narayana to understand that he is a servant of Krishna. Even to see everybody as servant of Krishna also requires divine eyes. Okay, one is servant of Krishna, then others are also servants of Krishna. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Anya Bhrittas. Everybody is servant of Krishna. There is only one Ishvara, that is Krishna. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Anya Bhrittas. Everybody. We may be a lower servant, but the demigods may be higher servants. So that is not a problem. But Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnu Revana Samsheha. There should not be any doubt that Vishnu is a deliverer of liberation for everyone. But what to do? Even though he is Mukti Pradata, people are interested in doing so many other things, worshipping so many other demigods, or maybe not considering Krishna as the supreme, or maybe very busy, he doesn't have time. Mukti Pradata Sarvesham. Even though he is Mukti Pradata, I don't have time for Krishna. That means there are 4 types of people. Krishna very clearly says, I may be behind them. Hey, what is this? You should chant Krishna's name. You should worship Krishna. Krishna is a supreme person. 100 times also you are saying that person is not ready to accept Krishna as a supreme person. Then technically what Krishna has done, Krishna has divided such type of people who are not accepting him. You can call, they are all dushkrutis. Dushkrutis means they don't have the fortune to accept Krishna as a supreme person. They don't have the fortune. So such dushkrutis are divided into 4 types. There are some people calling themselves as God. They like people also calling them as God. There are so many such type of people who call themselves also. They like people calling them as God. So such type of people are there. Now technically Krishna has divided them into 4. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha maya pratagyana asuram bhavamashitaha. 4. First is who? Mudha. Namam dushkritino mudha. Mudha means donkey. He's a fool. He doesn't have time. So much busy. Work hard. Work is worship. Whole life went in this. Work hard, work is worship. In fact, worship is the only work, and for that work, you are doing other works. You are earning some money just to have worship, just to worship Lord. And worship includes 4 aspects. Shottavya, Kirtitavya, Dheya, Pujascha. Hearing, chanting, meditating, and worshipping. Pujascha. So to do these 4 worship, you require a shelter. So we are not very highly elevated that we can stay outside, that too in this hot season. We are not so elevated. We are not at the level of Goswamis that we can just stay without a shelter. So we require a shelter. To maintain that shelter, I go to work. To maintain the shelter, one is going to work. And that is the purpose. It is not work is worship. It is worship is the only work. But this Mudha, this donkey, whole time he is working. He has no time for Krishna. He doesn't have time to chant Krishna's name. So such person is known as Mudha. They are Dushkruti. There is something known as Sukruti, Dushkruti. It's not fortunate. Because the whole life went in just maintaining oneself and maintaining the family. Whole life went in that. And it takes pride also. You know, I made my children engineer. My children are engineer, doctors. They are all well settled. मैंने सबका विवाह किया, शादी किया, ये किया, वो किया, सबको बंगला बना के दिया. What happened? Whole life went in just being with the family, or technically if you say satisfying one's own senses. If the child is studying nicely, whose senses are gratified? Parents' senses are gratified. If the child is having some bungalows and all these things, whose senses are satisfied? Yes, parents. So the whole life went in just sense gratification. But then, such Mudha has no time, because by the time he wanted to chant, or you can say he wanted to just to understand, death swallowed him. That means he has not taken the advantage of the time which was given to him. Namam dushkritino mudha. So such people working hard. But then there are some people who are born in a nice family, a Brahmin family, where he can cultivate the knowledge. But no, he's not interested. Even though born in a Brahmin family where his Upanayam sanskaras are done, where he can read the scriptures, go to Gurukul, read the scriptures. No. That is why he is Naradhama. He is the most Adhama, the most downtrodden in all the Nara. Naradhama. Prapadyante Naradhama. Na prapadyante. This na is common. Namam prapadyante Naradhama. He is not accepting, though born in a Brahmin family, a wonderful family, but has no inclination to study the scriptures, no inclination to surrender to Krishna. Naradhama. So they are the worst. They are the Naradhama. Fortune is there, doesn't want to use the fortune. That is why they are Dushkrutis. And then Maya Prahutta Jnana, third category. Maya Prahutta Jnana. What type of education he is doing? He is taking the education which says Krishna is a product of Maya. Maya Prahutta Jnana. So they are always in Maya. That means for them knowledge is what? Everything is Maya. Everything is matter. Maya means matter. Everything is matter. So we know the two demons, that is Madhu and Kaitap. They wanted to fight with Krishna. They were born from the earlobes of Brahma. The first thing they asked was, they did a lot of tapasya. Lord comes before them. So what is the thing they asked? We want a boon to fight with you. We want to fight with you. We want a boon to fight with you. And then we don't want to die in matter. Krishna says, okay, what to do? If they have asked this boon, for them everything is Maya, everything is matter. To such an extent, they consider even Krishna's body to be matter. They fought with Krishna, they got the strength to fight with Krishna, and they also got that boon fulfilled, that they should not die in matter. That is why Krishna keeps them on his laps and just presses them and kills Madhu and Kaitava. Now, Krishna's body is not Maya. It's not matter. But these fools, they thought everything is matter. Maya Prahutta Jnana. Current scientists, they say something known as God particle. What God particle? Is particle God or not? Everything belongs to God. So they have discovered something, God particle. That means they consider even the matter to be God. That means God is matter. God particle means what? God is matter. In fact, the matter belongs to Krishna. Prakritim Swamadhishtaya. Krishna says everything adhishtana. Krishna is adhishtan for everything. Swamadhishtaya, Krishna says. So Maya Prahutta Jnana. Everything is Maya for that. Maya Prahutta. Prahutta means their Jnana is stolen by Maya. Their intelligence is completely stolen by Maya. They see everything as Maya. And there is a fourth category which says Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. He's an Asura. He doesn't accept the superiority of Krishna, supreme position of Krishna. He considers himself as God. Hiranyakashipu did not consider Narayana as supreme. He was saying, say Hiranyakashipu Namaha. That's it. He called himself as God. They are all Asuras. One who doesn't accept the supremacy of Krishna, he's an Asura. One who considers Krishna to be a product of Maya, he is Maya Prahutta Jnana. His knowledge is stolen by Maya. And there are Naradhamas, though got an opportunity, but doesn't want to take it up. And there are Mudhas, those who don't have time. So that is how here Krishna says, 4 types of people will not surrender to me, and we are just behind. But Krishna clearly says they will not surrender. What you will do? But a devotee doesn't lose faith. He tries out. He tries out. No, somehow or the other. Because more than Krishna, who is compassionate? It is the devotees. Devotees are more compassionate even than Krishna. Krishna, okay, in one way, just slaps, okay, these 4 people will not come to me. Why try out? But devotees say, no, let me try out. That is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada went to West to try out with all these 4 type of people. Namam, Dushkrito, Mudha, they didn't have time. But Naradhama, Even Prabhupada tried out with people who had got opportunity in Bharat, in India. Srila Prabhupada was preaching to all high class people also, but they don't want to take up the they did not want to take the Krishna consciousness very seriously. Mayaparhata Jnana. There were scientists also who came across with Srila Prabhupada. Asuram Bhava Mashita. They don't want to accept Krishna as supreme. But a devotee always has faith that let me try out with these 4 type of people. And Prabhupada became successful also. Krishna says, okay, they will not come. Devotees say, let me try out. Oh Krishna, at least 1 time, let me try out. Thrice, twice, at least twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, let me try out. So that is what is the nature of a devotee. Krishna very clearly says 4 type of people will not come. But we cannot lose hopes. We have to try out. Because the whole intention is if a person has got a human body, the purpose of getting a human body and human intelligence is to know the supremacy of Lord and surrender to Him, serve Him, and go back to God. Okay, one by one we'll read. Kusumataji, first paragraph. It's a big paragraph. There are so many paragraphs. Yes, what happened?
Srila Prabhupada says,
Yeah.
it is said in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself unto the lotus feet of Supreme Personality Krishna, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. At this point, a question arises. How is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators, and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the all-powerful personality of Godhead? Mukti or liberation from the laws of material nature is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if that liberation is possible by simply surrendering unto the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why don't these intelligent and hard-working leaders adopt this simple method? The Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, the Kumaras, Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka,
One minute. Just 1 paragraph I had told. Bas.
Okay, Mataji.
What has been told? Why then educated philosophers and all? Why they are not surrendering? What is the purpose? When Mukti Pradata is Krishna, why they are not surrendering? Gita frankly answers this question. Okay. Who will read? Aruna, you read.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. The Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, the Kumaras, Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlada, Bali, and later on Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya, and many others who are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, etc., surrender to the lotus feet of the Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority. Those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, etc., but pose themselves as such for material gain, do not accept the plan or path of the Supreme Lord. They have no idea of God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans and consequently complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because material energy, nature, is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of the planning commissions.
Yes. See how Srila Prabhupada is now taking the whole section. He says these people will never surrender to Krishna. But there are learned scholars like Brahma, Shiva, everybody. There are leaders of the society. They are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, so many. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramanujacharya, and all have been put all the names. They have all surrendered to Lord. But there are philosophers, scientists, they don't have any inclination to surrender to Krishna. But Girija, read next to Girija Mata, next to. Unmute yourself. Unmute. Yeah.
The atheistic plan makers are described herein by the word Duskritina or miscreant. Kriti means one who has performed meritorious work. The atheist plan maker is sometimes very intelligent and meritorious also because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called Duskriti, which indicates that his intelligence and efforts are misdirected. Can I continue, Mataji?
Yeah.
In the Gita, it is clearly mentioned that material energy works fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It has no independent authority. It works as the shadow moves in accordance with the movements of the object. But still, material energy is very powerful, and the atheist, due to his godless temperament, cannot know how it works, nor can he know the plan of the Supreme Lord. Under illusion and the modes of passion and ignorance, all his plans are baffled, as in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Ravana, whose plans were smashed to dust, although they were both materially learned as scientists, philosophers, administrators, and educators. These Duskritinas or miscreants are of 4 different patterns as outlined below.
Okay. Now Prabhupada is going to start one by one. Who are Mulas, who are Dushkritis, who are Mulas, who are Naradhamas, who are Mayaparhata Gyanis, or you can say who are Asuris, about them. Till now, briefing about how there are devotees who have surrendered to Krishna, there are people who have not surrendered to Krishna, how this material energy is so powerful, how is the temperament of the atheistic people. All those things are spoken by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, today we find Anil Sabu Prabhu joining the class. So read the first. Okay, Hari Bol, unmute yourself. Okay, Maya, please read. Read the first one. Mudas, who are all the Mudas?
Hare Krishna. First, the Mudas are those who are grossly foolish, like hardworking beasts of burden. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor by themselves and do not want to part with them for the Supreme. The typical example of the beast of burden is the ass. This humble beast is made to work very hard by his master. The ass does not really know for whom he works so hard day and night. He remains satisfied by filling his stomach with a bundle of grass, sleeping for a while under the fear of being beaten by his master.
Just listen today, next time I'll leave.
And satisfying his sex appetite at the risk of being repeatedly kicked by the opposite party. The ass sings poetry and philosophy sometimes, but this braying sound only disturbs other. This is the position of the foolish, fruity worker who does not know for whom he should work. He does not know that karma or action is meant for yajna, sacrifice. Hare Krishna. Am I continue करना है?
Yeah, continue.
Most often, those who work very hard day and night to clear the burden of self-created duties say that they have no time to hear of the immortality of the living being. To such mudas, material gains which are destructible are life's all in all. Despite the fact that the mudas enjoy only a very small fraction of the fruit of labor. Sometimes they spend sleepless days and nights for fruitive gains. And although they have ulcers or indigestion, they are satisfied with practically no food. They are simply absorbed in working hard day and night for the benefit of illusory masters. Ignorant of their real master, the foolish workers waste their valuable time serving mammon. Unfortunately, they never surrender to the supreme master of all masters, nor do they take time to hear of him from the proper sources. The swine who eats the night soil do not care to accept sweetmeats made of sugar and ghee. Similarly, the foolish worker will untiringly continue to hear of the sense-enjoyable tidings of the flickering mundane world, but will have very little time to hear about the eternal living force that moves the material world. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada, he loves to call foolish. He finds an opportunity. Anyway, he likes to call fools and rascals. Somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, What is the difference between fool and rascal? Prabhupada said, fool is one who does not know, but a rascal is one who, after knowing also, he doesn't want to adopt it. That means that it's rascal. Fool is at, okay, it is at a primary level. So a foolish worker, Prabhupada clearly says, foolish worker will continuously hear about the sense enjoyable things of this world, but will have very little time to hear about Lord. Hear about the eternal living force that moves the material world. They don't want to hear because they're so tied up. They work so hard that they are so tired. They don't have strength. What is Sunday? Sunday means sleeping day. Because they work so hard, they don't have strength to get up. That is why don't work so hard that you don't have time on Sundays. It is said Sundays are meant for spiritual advancement, at least one day. Okay, we are not able to give all the days, at least one day. Even Lord waits for the devotees, at least one day. One should be so energetic. And for that, you have to not work so hard. Work to the extent of keeping the body and the soul together. Work to the extent of maintaining your family, but not so hard that you don't have time for self, for the self, you can say, for the self-development. And what is the self-development? Hearing about Krishna, having association of devotees, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, deity worship, service. That is why the devotees are very much required to take care of their body, their family, because we are not so elevated that even if we are sick, we can take up devotional service. For Haridas Thakur, it was very easy. Even if he is on the deathbed, he is chanting rounds, which is actually above 100 rounds. He was not able to complete 192 rounds. That was his concern. Now, if we are sick, we cannot even chant one round also. That is why for us, maintaining the body is also important. Eating properly, resting properly, everything is important. Yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasta karmasu yukta sapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati yuktaha. Now, if you sleep just 2 hours in a day, it will not be enough. In 24 hours, if you just sleep for 2 hours, it will not be enough. Goswamis should do that. Sometimes they should not even sleep also. So we are not so elevated. But don't work so hard that you're just sleeping on the bed 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, you are not able to get up. Balance eating, balance your resting time, balance even your recreation time also. Some recreation for a devotee is required, some recreation. What is the recreation? It will be going out, buying some sabjis for the Lord, and some small recreation is required. But don't spend so much time that you don't have time for Krishna. That is what is told. Don't work so hard that you're so exhausted. On Sundays, you don't have strength. If you ask why you're not coming to the class, I don't have strength. That means what did you do in these holidays? Actually 6 days are holidays. 7th day is for Krishna. Isn't it? The 6 days holidays we have spent for working hard in the material world. So 6th day I take holiday for Lord. It should be vice versa. Na? 7th day should be for Krishna, working for Krishna. But 6 days I worked so hard, I don't have time for the 7th day. That means I have taken a holiday for Krishna. That means 6 days I was occupied in this material world. So it's a vice versa. If a person 6 days works to the minimal and takes proper rest, then at least on the 7th day he is with Krishna. Okay, now second class of people, they are known as Naradhama. They are the lowest of the mankind. Lowest of the mankind. Who will read? Devaki Kuti Mataji, are you having the book with you? If you have the book, you can read. Or Parina Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna,
okay,
Mataji.
Read.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, I'm able to hear Devaki.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I actually don't have the book. I will definitely read it next time.
Okay, no problem. Parina, read.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Mataji. Then
Another class of Dushkriti or miscreant is called the Naradhama, or the lowest of mankind. Nara means human being and Adhama means lowest. Out of 84 lakhs different species of living beings, there are 4 lakhs human species. Out of these, there are numerous lower forms of human life that are mostly uncivilized. The civilized human beings are those who have regulated principles of social, political, and religious life. Those who are socially and politically developed but who have no religious principles must be considered Naradhamas. Nor is religion without God religion, because the purpose of following religious principles is to know the supreme truth and the man's relation with him. In the Gita, the personality of Godhead clearly states that there is no authority above him and that he is the supreme truth. The civilized form of human life is meant for man's reviving the lost consciousness of his eternal relation with the supreme truth. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is all powerful. Whoever loses this chance is classified as a Naradhama. We get the information from revealed scriptures that when the baby is in the mother's womb, an extremely uncomfortable situation, he prays to God for deliverance and promises to worship him alone as soon as he gets out. To pray to God when he is in difficulty is a natural instinct in every living being because he is eternally related with God. But after his deliverance, the child forgets the difficulties of birth and forgets his deliverer, also being influenced by Maya, the illusory energy. It is the duty of guardians of children to revive the divine consciousness dormant in them. The trend processes of reformatory ceremonies, as enjoyed in the Manu Smriti, which is the guide to religious principles, the meant for reviving God consciousness in the system of Varnashrama. However, no process is strictly followed now in any part of the world, and therefore 99.9% of the population is Naradhama. Shall I
Read,
then I'll explain. Read. When the whole population becomes Naradhama, naturally all their so-called education is made null and void by the all-powerful energy of physical nature. According to the standard of Gita, a learned man is he who sees on equal terms the learned Brahmana, the dog, the cow, the elephant, and the dog eater. That is the vision of a true devotee. Sri Nityanand Prabhu, who is the incarnation of the Godhead as Divine Master, delivered the typical Naradhamas, the brother Jagai Madai, and showed how showed how the mercy of a real devotee is bestowed upon the lowest of mankind. So the Naradhama, who is the condemned by the personality of Godhead, can again revive his spiritual consciousness only by the mercy of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in propagating the Bhagavad Dharma, or activities of the devotees, has recommended that people submissively hear the message of personality of Godhead. The essence of the message of Bhagavad Gita, the lowest among human beings, can be delivered by the submissive hearing process only. But unfortunately, they even refuse to give an oral reception to these messages. And what to speak of surrendering to the will of the Supreme Lord? Naradhamas, or the lowest of mankind, willfully neglect the prime duty of human being.
Okay. So Naradhamas got the opportunity, Jagai Madai born in a Brahmin family. And what were they doing? All type of sinful activities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has appeared. What he says, give submissive hearing to the message of Krishna. So Naradhama here refers to got opportunity but doesn't want to utilize. It is the duty of the guardians. Very clearly Krishna says, here Srila Prabhupada says, guardians. That means the parents, the teachers. It is the duty of the teachers, the parents, to make their dependents hear Krishna consciousness, be in Krishna consciousness. That means the opportunity is there, give that opportunity to the dependents. Okay, third and fourth we'll do next time because I have to start the next class at Kashinath Hall. Chandrapati Prabhu can be, Aruna Mataji, please ask Chandrapati Prabhu to give the Zoom link for the first chapter over there.
Okay, Madam.
Hare Krishna. Any doubts in this chapter?
Yeah, Mataji, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Mataji, in this 7.15, Krishna says these four class of people will never surrender to me. But yet Srila Prabhupada could convert most of the Westerners who could easily fall into any of these four categories or all the four categories. So it appears apparently that Krishna's words are not entirely correct, at least in this particular case. So how do we understand this?
Dushkruti means he doesn't have Sukruti. So it is the duty of the devotees to give Sukruti. So that Dushkruti becomes Sukrutis. So now four types of Sukrutis. There are four types of people who are going to surrender to Krishna. So that is why it should be the nature of the devotee to give that compassion to everyone. Sukruti means he has got the opportunity to be with the devotee. Just by being with the devotee, the Dushkruti becomes Sukruti.
Okay.
So that is how, it's not Krishna is wrong or Krishna is proved false. No, Krishna is right in every sense. But devotees say, okay, devotees are very tactful. Your words are Dushkrutis. Okay, we'll go and give Sukruti. So in this way, these four types of people who were not surrendered to Krishna, now slowly, because of the Sukruti, they come in the four categories of people who will surrender to Krishna. But that is also fortune. It's not so easy to get association of devotees. It is not so easy.
Yeah.
But devotees will try out at all circumstances. Taking all the troubles. Srila Prabhupada did not take any troubles, so many troubles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Any other
हरे
doubt?
कृष्ण माता जी, हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। माता जी, आपने बोला कि हम सुकृति दे सकते हैं, मगर अगर हम घर में हैं तो हम इतनी कोशिश कर रहे हैं मगर कोई लेना ही नहीं चाहता है, तो हम क्या करें माता जी?
दिया तले अंधेरा।
सही बात, इतनी कोशिश करती मैं घर में, मेरे सब गृह मेदी है, तीन मेरे जो है, तो इतनी कोशिश करती हूँ कि
आप भले करो, लेकिन ये नहीं समझो कि उन्हें नहीं मिलेगा, उन्हें अगले जीवन में मिल जाएगा। Power of devotion will not fail.
Mataji, they are supporting me like anything, but they are not interested. मतलब वो सुनना नहीं।
सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं ना, कहीं ना कहीं उन्हें स्फूर्ति मिल गई है, भले ये जन्म नहीं कहीं और जन्म में मिल जाए, क्या मालूम इसी जन्म में मिल जाए। Just try out. Today I met a family. That person was not at all ready to take up devotion service. Born in a Catholic, and this girl got married to a Catholic Hindu girl. And she used to always tell me, Mataji is not taking up. Today I saw his own kanthi and the tilak, and he paid obeisances. So who knows when the kripa happens? At least they are supporting you. That itself is a plus point.
Yes, Mataji.
There can be no other plus point than this.
Yes, Mataji. That is unfortunate.
And it is actually a test for you. Even though in such circumstances, are you ready? First, it will be a test for us only.
Yes,
if you are still doing it, then Krishna fulfills the desire what you have, that everybody will take up devotion service.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's stop here. Panchakalptarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.